Believing conspiracy theories might make you a criminal. Study, says the New York Post. Analyzing propaganda is essential to becoming free. This way you can discriminate between reason, argument, truth, morality, and propaganda, or those trying to control you. Important to know, the term conspiracy theorist was highly weaponized by the Central Intelligence Agency and anyone trying to combat criticism of the Warren Commission. In document 1035-960, you can find further information about this. So instead of saying, let's address their concerns, they said, let's call them names. That is propaganda. That's the power of it. They didn't say, let's have a red team, blue team. They didn't say, well, let's go on the major shows and address the major concerns. Let's have a public discussion with Oliver Stone, or let's talk to Jim Mars or Jim Fetz. I mean, anyone who questions it. They just say, call them names. Crime, again, might make you a criminal. A crime is simply something government says you can't do or will prosecute you for or is punishable by law. Has nothing to do with morality. It's no different than saying, your actions are not in accordance with the Church of Scientology. We now will put you in a cage. Has nothing to do with morality. Has to do with whether the current ruling class in a geographical jurisdiction at a certain time tends to punish people for certain things. Has nothing to do with morality, as Walter Williams likes to say. Slavery was legal, the Holodomor was legal, Jim Crow was legal, taxation, stealing trillions annually is legal, Hiroshima was legal. Legality has nothing to do with criminality. Or as Joe Rogan likes to say, law is basically words written down by politicians who we generally know to be liars and crooks. Why don't we talk about what's moral instead of what's legal? Great points there. Let's analyze the content. It's short, but there's so much propaganda. Go figure. Okay. If you're a birther, nice belittling term. See, a birther is someone who questions the drone master general, Barack Obama. Basically, what happened was in 1991, a literary promotional booklet identified Barack Obama as having been born in Kenya. This came out, this is true. This came out and people started questioning where he was born. So what? People are questioning it. Notice, instead of addressing the claim, they just call you a name, birther, or a 9/11 denier. Ooh, see, the word deny, people often say is, I deny that didn't happen. Is anyone saying 9/11 didn't happen? Are there people saying the towers are still there? Are there people saying no one died? Is anyone denying it, or are people questioning the official narrative? See, maybe they saw something like Amalgam Virgo and they're questioning, on June of 2001, the state was saying, watch out for bin Laden. Now, it's important. Why didn't the CIA just kill bin Laden? CNN knew where he was in 1998. ABC knew where he was in the 90s. That's how they got interviews with him. The CIA, MI6 can't find him, but CNN can. He was a criminal on the FBI's most wanted list since the bombing of 1993. So, this is a document discussing NORAD exercises, and specifically General Ralph Eberhart. You can watch 9/11 Suspects, Ralph Eberhart from James Corbett for more on that. Basically, look here, we have the world's most dangerous terrorist, bin Laden and Saddam, people they ended up going to war with, and they're surrounding these people by planes. Now, those are the planes, in other words, an attack from air. Now, we have another document, Iron Man, that was released in 2011 from the Freedom of Information Act. And this cites a document from the summer of 2000, the WMD threat to U.S. The briefing slides emphasize that New York City was the most difficult consequence management problem and recommended using NYC as the model for planning/exercises. Now, there were exercises going on the day of 9/11. The purpose of these exercises is to make it so it's difficult to get a response time. You have 4 commercial airlines go off their path and no response. Well, according to Norman Mineta, Dick Cheney intentionally didn't respond in his 9/11 testimony. Secretary of Transportation Norman Mineta. The oral briefing itself was much more sensitive, indicating that World Trade Centers 1 and 2 were most likely buildings to be attacked in the U.S., followed closely by the Pentagon. So this document just happened to guess World Trade Center 1, just happened to guess World Trade Center 2, just happened to guess the Pentagon. This document just so happened to guess bin Laden and planes and Saddam, who was later attacked because of the zeitgeist that 9/11 caused. Just a tremendous amount of coincidence. Now, maybe this is why people are questioning the official story. Is anyone denying the towers fell or that there was an attack? I've never heard of that, and I've heard a lot of crazy things. Maybe they're saying, why were the Israelis detained? This is according to abcnews.go. There were a group of Israeli spies that were filming the incidents and, quote, celebrating while traveling through a company called Urban Moving Systems. Maybe they saw this Washington Post article and article in Haaretz, instant messages to Israel, warned of WC attack. This is according to Alex Diamandis, the vice president, who confirmed the messages warning that 9/11 was going to take place. Now, again, this doesn't mean, therefore, 9/11 was done by Netanyahu or Shimon Peres or whoever was in there at that time. What this is, the reason that's important, the reason I had to beat that dead horse, I'm sorry, is because it's so easy to call someone a name. It's difficult to address their concerns. By calling them names, you make it seem like there's no legitimacy to the claim and you can just step over the bodies and keep moving on. Chances are you aren't much fun to be around. What the heck does that have to do with truth or morality? You're not too much fun. You're not one of the cool kids. You're not part of the in-group. So what? You don't have any friends. Is it true? Is it moral? You're lonely. What the heck? Sure, we've been saying this about our whack job uncle for years, but now it's backed up by science. Just like eugenics, backed up by science. Now we can do it because it's backed up by science. People who buy into, they haven't done the research. They haven't formed their opinions based on historical references of, maybe they're a little skeptical after hearing about babies on bayonets in Belgium or babies in incubators in the Nyaria testimony or the Gulf of Tonkin or Operation Northwoods or the sinking of the Lusitania. They just buy into these things, sort of like how you buy a pack of gum. You just buy it because you just want it. There's no reasoning behind it. You just buy into it. Outrageous. Oh, they're outrageous. They're just outrageous. I mean, you can't even address them. That's why there's no analyzing the evidence. They're just outrageous. So just call someone outrageous instead of addressing their claims. Say that no human has ever walked on the moon or the ancient pyramids were built by aliens are more inclined to actively engage in anti-social behavior. In other words, if you question 9/11 or Kennedy or the birther question, then you are morally on par with someone who believes the pyramids were built by aliens, or you're a moon landing denier. That's the main finding of a team of psychologists from the UK. What did they find? People have antisocial behavior who tend to do more research and question things. Does it say anything about truth, morality, wisdom, IQ, ability to analyze reason? UK, Staffordshire University, and University of Kent, who investigated the wider impact these paranoia fueled. They're fueled by paranoia. So fuel goes into, so I'm picturing fuel going into a car, giving it energy. So they're fueled by paranoia. It's not because they like to question things. It's not because they're interested. It's not because they've been lied to by the same organization before. They're just paranoia fueled. Fringe beliefs. Again, you're on the fringe. Like the very edge of the paper is the fringe. You're on the outside. You have disapproval. You're not part of the in-group. You're an outcast. Feel isolated. Fringe beliefs can have on behavior. Our research has shown for the first time the role that conspiracy theories can play in determining an individual's attitude toward everyday crime. I don't know what crime means in this aspect. I'm sorry. They go on to specify. Study co-authored and Kent professor Karen Douglas said in a statement, it demonstrates that people subscribing. So in the same way you just check a box and you subscribe to a magazine or subscribe to an email list, you're just subscribing to a conspiracy theory. You're just picking one. You're not analyzing it. You haven't done research. You haven't read the documents. You haven't spent an hour and a half reading 2 pages in Prolonging the Agony by Jerry Doherty, and trying to read through the footnotes and check primary sources. You just subscribe to it. To the view that others have conspired might be more inclined toward unethical actions. How about people who don't believe in conspiracies? Are they more likely to justify a war that kills hundreds of thousands of people in bombings or massacres? Or, too many people believed in the conspiracy theory that the Iraqi army was going into Kuwait, taking the babies out of incubators, throwing them to die on the cold floor, and that debunked conspiracy theory, had it been exposed before, wouldn't have killed 500,000 Iraqis through U.S. and British sanctions. Or the WMD lies that got us into Iraq the second time. Or had they known about National Security Presidential Directive 9, that was the plan to remove the Taliban on September 4th of 2001. See, what about crime committed by conspiracy deniers or people who just believe official stories even when they're perpetrated by known liars? What's their crime rate? What's their genocide rate? How many bombs have gone off and killed thousands of people because people didn't question psychopaths, half of who probably are suffering from Kuru? With contemporary conspiracy theories targeting everything from myths surrounding the Mueller report. Okay, you sons of guns have done it now. Questioning the Mueller report. First of all, the Mueller report is a conspiracy theory. Trump conspired with Russia to defeat Hillary. That's a conspiracy theory. Mueller's crime rate increases because he believes in conspiracy. Okay. Maybe you question the Mueller report because there is someone in the deep state inside of Trump's administration. Or maybe you question the sincerity of the Mueller report, considering that the FBI official Andrew McCabe says Justice Department considered asking cabinet to remove Trump. Maybe you believe that there's actually more of a coup than an actual investigation, or maybe you can go on the Clinton Foundation's webpage, go to donations, the Clinton Foundation, go to donations between $10 million and $25 million, and on there you see the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. They donated to her to her foundation. How is that not collusion? How is that not interference? But this, of course, is some terrible thing. Yeah, so of course people question the secret motives. How about this? Trump's baseless wiretap claim. Trump just flat out lied about Trump Tower wiretapping. Well, it turns out the U.S. government did wiretap former Trump campaign chairman. So they were already tapping him. They already had the guilty verdict in their pocket. Now they're looking for reasons. Stephen Harper, former Canadian Prime Minister, told Colin Powell at the Bohemian Grove, he basically gave him the wink that, Trump's not getting in. We also have someone in the FBI saying, we got to take out an insurance policy in case Trump gets in. So you have multiple people conspiring against him. That's in his own text. We have Project Folsom. We have the U.S. Secretary National Security Advisor Rice has requested that we continue our surveillance during the transition period as internal U.S. intelligence is potentially compromised by the incoming Trump administration. Project Folsom, at the request of the U.S. President, by the Honorable Boris Johnson, MP. In other words, it's easy to just call things names and say, myths surrounding the Mueller report. Don't specify, because then you might get people to start thinking. The reason I have to beat that dead horse too is to show again, there's so much reason to believe in questioning the Mueller report, whatever it turns out to be. But the fact that they just gloss over it by myths surrounding, that is the propaganda to delegitimize you. You don't have real concerns. You just believe in myths surrounding the report. To the chilling secret behind Disney's Frozen, I don't even know what that is referring to. This cultural phenomenon is certainly ripe for clinical exploration. Oh, you belong in a clinic. I'm not even going to address your claim specifically, just go to a clinic. This was addressed in a book called Resisting Illegitimate Authority, A Thinking Person's Guide to Being an Anti-Authoritarian, Strategies, Tools, and Models. This book analyzes the use of psychiatric diagnosis to discredit, dismiss, and marginalize famous and non-famous anti-authoritarians as common. In the book, he refers to Edward Snowden, Julian Assange, Chelsea Manning, Ralph Nader, Malcolm X, people who escaped the Soviet Union, Thomas Paine, Benjamin Rush. So, these people are more likely to be criminals because crime is defined as not doing what the psychopathic state tells you is okay. They go into Ernest Hemingway, who turned out to be right after FBI files were released. If you want more on, Francis Farmer and all this, you can go to an excellent interview with James Corbett and Bruce Levin, the author of that book, on resisting illegitimate authority. Back to the article. As such, the new study measures participants' belief in general notions of conspiracy. Thousands of people go to jail every year for conspiring, so I'm not sure what their belief has to do with the existence of conspiracies, as well as how much they agreed with specific theories. There was an official campaign by MI6 to assassinate Princess Diana. See, look at this. There was an official. So it's official. Everyone knows about it. It's in the open, and there was a campaign. Many people were involved by MI6. MI6, very popular organization, hard to cover things up, to assassinate Princess Diana. Well, that's not the same as questioning the official story. See, the reason I question the official story is this article from The Telegraph. Princess Diana, in her diary, Charles plans to kill me. I am sitting here at my desk today in October, longing for someone to hug me and encourage me to keep strong and hold my head high. This particular phase in my life is most dangerous. My husband is planning an accident in my car. Ooh, lucky guesser, just like Amalgam Virgo. Just like those lucky Israelis who happened to be there with cameras on 9/11. Just like them happening to guess World Trade Center 1, World Trade Center 2 in the Pentagon. My husband is planning an accident in my car, brake failure, and serious head injury in order to make the path clear for him to marry Tiggy. Kamala is nothing but a decoy, so we are all being used by the man in every sense of the word. Doesn't mean it's frickin' true. Means that people have reasons for believing this thing. So instead of saying, well, let's look into 9/11 or birthers or the moon landing or the origin of the pyramids or the origin of this MI6 claim or Disney's Frozen's. I mean, what? Does subliminal messaging not exist? Do advertisers not use subliminal messaging? So, easier to name call than to address conspiracies, but it's an easy way of dismissing those critical of the ruling class. Those inclined to believe the theories were more accepting of everyday crime. Get ready for this one. Here's everyday crime. Such as demanding a refund for no appropriate reason. Okay, so I don't know if that's a crime. I thought I'd like the iPod. I don't like the iPod. I'm going to give it back. Is that no apparent reason? Or is it just let me manipulate Best Buy by buying it and then giving it back? Is that something that's really popular amongst people who question official stories sold to us by known liars? In addition, exposure to, and again, what is the crime rate amongst people who don't question official stories? How many nukes have been dropped by conspiracy theorists? In addition, exposure to conspiracy theories was found to make people more apt to engage in low-level, okay, here you have it right here, low-level criminal activity. So low-level is not terrible. Again, I don't know, is that cheating on your taxes? Not being stolen from is not immoral. Or not abiding by OSHA regulations, that's a crime, but it's not immoral. How about high-level criminal activity amongst official story believers? What's that rate? Researchers found that this tendency was directly linked to an individual's feeling of a lack of social cohesion or shared values known as anomie. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. For the non-psycholinguists out there, anomie is defined as the lack of the usual social or ethical standards in an individual or group. So, lack of usual, so not objectively moral, in an individual group. So maybe you're in Afghanistan and you say rape is wrong. Maybe you say women should have the right to drive. Oh, you're anti this individual group and its usual social ethical standards. So what? Are you right or are you wrong? Lysander Spooner is anti-social cohesion because he's an abolitionist. So what? Rosa Parks is anti-social cohesion. She's not in line with our current standards. So fricking what? Or, as co-author Dan Jolly of Staffordshire put it, people believing in conspiracy theories are more likely to be accepting of everyday crime, while exposure to theories increases a feeling of enemy. Exposure is bad. Look at that. So that is why it's okay to silence people who expose them, because they're really a threat to social cohesion. That's why it's okay to forcibly stop David Icke from giving a speech in Australia from the immigration minister, because it threatens social cohesion. God damn. Well, exposure to theories increases the feelings of enemy, which in turn predicts increased future everyday crime intentions. Exposure to conspiracies increases the feeling of the lack of usual social or ethical standards in an individual or group, which in turn predicts future everyday crime. Thinking causes ethical standards to drop in the group and causes crime. Thinking is a crime. Folks, let's fight the thought criminal advocates. Let's use reason. Let's embrace the non-aggression principle. Let's start reading and stop watching fucking Family Guy. Let's start thinking rationally, holding the state to the same standards we'd hold other organizations. Please let me know if this video you feel is of any value. Thank you for watching. Keith Knight, don't tread on anyone.